There are tens of thousands of trafficking victims in Texas, and only 20 beds available to those who are rescued. Coming up, meet the woman who's building those survivors a safe home.
I kept saying, why are we not doing this? And then it became, well, then why am I not doing this?
Go inside this house of refuge and see how they're rebuilding lives inside when we come back.
Human trafficking, modern-day slavery. It is a horrible thing, but do you realize there are 1 million people around the world who are trafficked every single year? And for children who've escaped the horror of human trafficking, there aren't many centers that can give them the help they need. Well, that may soon change in Texas, where a new facility hopes to become a model for the future of aid to these victims of human trafficking. Heather Sells brings us that story.
This shelter is set to open in 2018 and will provide care for 48 children, just a fraction of those who need it here in Texas.
The need is overwhelming. Trafficking survivor Tony McKinley will work as a therapist for the refuge when it opens.
I can't tell you how many phone calls I get. I just got one a couple of days ago of a law enforcement asking me, what do you know that's open? What's available? Where can I take her?
As the officer overseeing trafficking cases in Austin, Sergeant Kevin Covington often asks those same questions.
There's different things that we can try, but outside of their having the refuge and put them on a plane and flying them back home to wherever they're from, there's no real good answer.
Just how many children are trafficked here? A new study by the University of Texas puts the number at 79,000. It's a stunning number, considering that national estimates overall reach the tens of thousands. Regardless of the total, however, there's simply not enough beds, let alone treatment facilities for these incredibly wounded kids. And that can feed right into the cycle.
The more that we find these kids and don't have a place to put them, a place for them to get healing, the more that they're not going to trust us.
Meet the mind behind the refuge, Brooke Crowder, who says God downloaded the plans to her.
I kept saying, why are we not doing this? And then it became, well, then why am I not doing this?
Right now, Texas has just 20 or so beds for its thousands of survivors. It's hard to believe, but Crowder admits
it's just an issue we don't really want to talk about. It's dark, it's hard to hear about,
and even harder to do something about.
It's a pretty complex response that is required. It's also quite costly, and so and there's really not a model out there that people can say, okay, we'll build this here.
The refuge model keeps the price down. It builds strategic partnerships with those already helping young people.
We're not bearing the cost of our on-site charter school. The University of Texas is doing that through their wonderful school program. We're not bearing the cost of the medical care. We're partnering with a federally qualified healthcare clinic.
There's also help with animal therapy and other services. Each survivor here will receive a customized care plan and likely stay for at least a year, if not longer. Crowder hopes this rural setting will provide both a sense of safety and a feeling of community that will take away any desire to run. McKinley wishes she would have had such an option. Her first trafficking experience came in elementary school. Later, as a teenager, a retired police officer kept her in the trade.
I completely trusted him. And I also desired a father figure so bad, that I didn't question anything, even though I was afraid.
Both McKinley and Crowder hope the refuge will give survivors the ability to relearn the very basics of human relationships. Their biggest goal, helping victims release their shame and understand how to trust.
The type of people who buy young adults and children are doctors, police officers, lawyers, teachers. If you can imagine trying to process hundreds of rapes, hundreds of rapes, because these girls are being raped, 10, 15 times a day, 6, 7 days a week, some of them for years. It's a lot. And that's why it takes so much. That's why so many people don't take this on. They don't build places like this because it's hard.
If the Refuge can get it right here, they would like to replicate this model in other cities in Texas and eventually in other states, providing care for the thousands of children who so desperately need it. Reporting in Central Texas, Heather Sell, CBN News.